This is SoundSquares, 32-bit VST plugin for Windows with 64 inputs and outputs. When you first load up, you'll see the splash screen with a picture of the sound spiral on it, and on the right hand side a little bit of help for what the individual functions do. To get rid of it, click in the background or just hit OK. If you want to get it back, just press on the question mark and then you can go through those again. So this is the SoundSquares stage. You can move about space by holding down Control and drag the mouse. And we find the main units of SoundSquares. The blue thing is a room, the small white dots are the speakers, the coloured squares are the sound sources, and the larger square is a group. When a source and speakers are in the same room, the source gets mixed to the speakers. When the source is outside of the room or in a different room, it doesn't talk to this room. So I can drag that in and instantly it starts mixing across the speakers. I can drag another target in and that instantly gets mixed to as well. Now if I want to get rid of it out of the room, I need to hold down Shift before selecting it and dragging it. So I'll get those out of the way. So a group node can contain various input nodes, and you select them over here. So we're on the right group, we just toggle these on and off, and you'll see that they take up the same outline colour as the group itself. They can move together, and groups can be muted in the same way that the main channels can be muted. To move the group node independent of the rest of its members, hold down Control and drag it, and it carries on as before, and you can still move the inputs independently. But they still stay within the confines of the room, although the group node itself is free. That's the basic concept. We take it a step further. Here we have a 5.1 room. The main pink is the sub because the sound source is right on top of it. It's got left, centre, right, surround left, surround right. I can mix across it. Now you see that some of the outputs are different sizes. And this is because over here we've got a local and a global setting for each of the outputs. So the front three are on global, and I can adjust their metrics with the global slider. The two at the rear are also on global, whereas the centre speaker is on local, which means it's got its own distance response. The way this works is the further away the input from the output, the quieter the output has that sound, until beyond this distance the sound is muted. It's effectively at -infinity dB. So we can tailor the response to get more or less bass in the system on that single speaker compared to the signal going to the rest of them. And you can do that on a per output basis, so it doesn't have to be 5.1 or 7.1, it can be 19.3 or any bizarre number you like. You can group them in different ways and have different responses, so different proximities come into play. There's a similar function on the inputs. I'll just save that and open another demonstration. So here we've got 64 outputs and one input, and we can pan the one input across any of the 64 outputs. But using the modifier here, that input can be spread across many outputs at the same time. It doesn't just make it louder in the single channel, it makes the sound literally fatter, wider, bigger. But if you want to go the other way, the fader beneath this is an attenuator, so we can spread across lots of speakers but only put a little of that channel into the speakers. That's about it for the core concepts. You can open, save as, and hide various bits. You can lock the stage, the rooms, the targets, the groups, and the sources. With MIDI input output, it's a bit experimental still, and if you want to roam around the stage, you can use the navigator. shift click on a room and you can then change its colour. Any input that you clicked on, likewise, you can click up here and give it a different colour, or give it a name. And the same for the targets. And the target colour doesn't show up, but you can at least give them different names if you so desire. There's a few setup files demonstrating what it can do, so hopefully if it runs for you, it'll let us know how you get on. That's about it really. SoundSquares. Mix environment for Sound Spiral.